it's Lisa. It's been quite a while since I've done a scrapbook video. I haven't been doing a lot of scrapbooking the last really couple of years. I did some really simple pages earlier in the year, a lot of pocket pages, just to kind of, get some things done. And then I've slowly started going back to doing pages. And then the last couple of weeks, I've done 3 or 4 pages, which has been quite a lot. I've got one here ready to put together, and I've got materials out, so I'd like to do that one on the video. First, though, I'd like to share a couple that I have completed that are along the same lines. These are pages that have a single photo, and I don't do those very often. Most of the time I have multiple photos. I really like my pages to tell a story, and while a single photo can be enough to tell a story, the old adage of, a photo's worth 10,000 words, but most of the time I do have multiple photos. In the case of these photos where there's just a picture with people posed, those aren't always part of the storytelling, but sometimes they are the beginning of an album or the beginning of a section, and that's some of what we have here. The first one I'll share, though, is one that is to tell the story because it's the only picture I have of this particular event. We went to visit some friends. We were on vacation with family, and we went one evening to visit some some longtime friends of mine. A couple I actually went to high school with, and I won't tell you how long ago that's been, but it's been quite a while. And we visited their house, and I didn't take pictures. And then we get to the restaurant, and finally I remembered to have the server take a photo of us. So that's the memory from the night, or that's the photo I have to capture the memories from the night. But I do have some journaling. And when you have a single photo, you have a lot of opportunity for either embellishment or something really interesting in the background. And that's what I've done with this page. The photo of us is taken sitting in a booth with this wood grain or this wood around us. So I chose a wood grain paper to frame my photo and have a place for my journaling to rest. And I chose colors from what we were wearing, purples, pinks, blues, and went to my 6x6 pads and selected a bunch of different papers and then punched those in scallops. This is one of my favorite things to do with the background is just punch a bunch of circles. I used the scallop punch in this case. And I stitched them together. And I used a technique I haven't done in a long time for stitching. I used a different colored thread on the top, a white thread on the top and a black thread on the bobbin. And that gave me this nice black and white twist to the thread. And you just kind of see a little bit of that, but it just adds to the design since there's several black and white papers. I like to do 3 embellishments to create the triangle, and what's in the middle of that triangle really focuses your eye towards that. So I did 2 of the punch circle areas and then a piece of flare up here that kind of went with the whole thing. So that was one of the pages that I completed. And this one will be just a standalone to tell of that particular evening. Then also from that trip, I did a page that included our other family members. And again, we took a lot of pictures, but I never took a picture of all 4 of us until the very last day. I mean, this was like an hour or 2 before we left to come home. But we went to this museum, went to the Virginia Quilt Museum, which is a wonderful museum in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And in standing in front of this modern art quilt had all of these fabrics. They were a lot of them like upholstery weight fabrics, and they were cut in circle designs. So I replicated that to create the designs on the back using my jelly prints. And these were jelly prints I already had made up. So I didn't even make up any fresh ones. I just took out some that matched the colors, and I used my old Creative Memory circle cutters and some punches to cut these out and then glue them on the background. And with so much going on in the background, I didn't need a lot of embellishments, just a few to create that triangle. I had a nice sticker here, and then just the name of where we're going. So this will be the first page of several pages that I have completed from this trip. And there are other photos of us and other things that we did, and so this is sort of the introduction to it. That's kind of the same thing that's going on with this page. This is a photo of my husband and I was taken on our wedding anniversary this summer. And that was the day that he said, this has been great. Why don't we go back to having date days, so having one day a week where we go somewhere. Um, date days haven't worked out quite as good as we would like if you get busy with things, but also some things have turned into date days have been doctor appointment days where we just happen to go out to lunch, but still we're trying to do something and get back to doing those kind of things. One of our date days was picking blueberries. Now I asked him to go with me to pick blueberries because I wanted his help, not because I wanted to turn it into a date. I didn't even get lunch that day. But that'll be another page coming down the road, and so there will be some other pages with this, so I thought this would be a good introduction to a section in the scrapbook. I've gone through my papers and selected some bright, cheery papers that match the colors that we're wearing. You know, I like to match my what I'm wearing, and because very often that this is a nice sunny page, so pulling out those bright sunny colors, it emphasizes that bright June day that we were up in the mountains. And there's a little story behind the hat, and I don't know that I'll get to it on this page, but I want to put this with just a little bit of journaling and a title. Again, I don't need, I've only got one photo, it's 5x7, but I don't need a lot of space for anything else, so I'm going, and I have a simple background, so I'm going to do a lot of embellishment on this one. And I have pulled out all kinds of embellishment. Now I will not use all of this, but these are just a wide variety of things that match the colors or the theme, things that I thought, you know, I've got some bling here and some brads and ribbons. So I've got a lot of different things that I thought kind of worked for the page. And I'll pick and choose from these and assemble the page that I have. One thing I really no longer have are collections. I have broken everything down. I have one set of papers that I got from Stampin' Up! That are still like together, and everything else I have broken down. I haven't bought any new things other than Stampin' Up! Orders in years now. And last night I thought, I'm doing a lot of pages. I think I'll go out and look at one of the scrapbooking sites. I wasn't that interested in I'm still really interested in moving through my stash and getting some stuff, and eventually I'll probably add some new things, but right now it's about working that down. I've given away stuff. I've packed up boxes and gave some things to the schools, so I'm really trying to use or consolidate my paper crafting. I don't want to stop doing it, but I just had more stuff and it's taking up more room than I really needed since I was doing a lot more sewing and a lot less paper crafting. All right, well, all that aside, let's get started doing this page. And I will tell you, I have a new camera system set up here, and I've not been very good about keeping my hands still. It tends to try to refocus every time I start moving my hands around. So I hope it will work out for you. I may have to invest in some type of different camera. Let's just see how this video goes, and maybe some of my other sewing ones, and then kind of go from there. The papers here were already trimmed down, and you can see I've cut some of those clouds out for another project, but I'm just going to cover that with the photo so it won't be noticeable. So I'm trying out some of the different ribbons that I have to go across where the two papers come together. I thought it'd be nice to put a border there, and that wide yellow ribbon is just too wide, so I'm going to use a narrower one. The blue stripe, we've already got enough stripes, so I think I like that, just kind of plain yellow ribbon. I really like these clouds. I'm just going to lay these on top of the cloud paper to add a little bit more dimension. These elements can be colored with markers or paints, and I'll do that with the sun and then just leave the clouds white. Now I've got a couple of different thickers out here. The smaller one matches better, but I really like the font and all for that other set of thickers. So those are the ones that I want to use. All these embellishments, the stickers and things are from all kinds of different collections, or they were individually purchased. I've broken everything down. I have a sticker drawer, I have paper drawers, and so I've just pulled out a whole bunch of different things and finding ones that I think really work. Either mostly, of course, looking for content, but they also, kind of things that look good color-wise. I've had that bling for a long time. I don't quite remember where I got it. Those little like stems and leaves, and I'd like to do something with those with flowers. I'll have to see what I can put on top of them. Now, this video, I was experimenting with the video, and I think I got the focus issue worked out, but it's backwards. It's like the selfie view, and so that doesn't work very well for letters. So I trimmed a lot of it away, but the reason I left it in here at all was because when I have date days, I ran out, I didn't have S's. So I took an X and I trimmed down the X and it turned into a really cute S. When you have these foam kind of thickers, you can trim them down and they look very good, or you can piece them together. They work really well for that. So I'll flip the camera will go back to the way it was before in just a moment, and you'll be able to see date days there on the bottom of the screen. I liked putting it at that bottom edge because I thought that that gave it a place to rest. And then I'm just using some yellow markers to color in the sun. I did forget one thing here. This takes a little bit of time to dry, and I ended up getting yellow ink on my fingers as I was moving it into place on the layout. And it's time to do a little bit more with the embellishment. What other kinds of fun things? I have those stickers. The round one I'm not sure is going to work. I'm not sure I have anywhere to put it. But I do like the little man and woman there in the wood grain, and it just fits right over the top of days. Earlier I was looking at this ribbon, and the whole row of it was a little bit too much, but just putting it under date days emphasizes the title and brings that yellow color down to the bottom. And I am going to use these leaves and stems. I'll just have to, and I've looked at brads to put on top of them, and then I got my buttons out. I used to have buttons in jars, and they were decorative and all, but I hardly ever used them, so they finally ended up in bags, and it's a little harder to find things. But I did go through the button stash, and I found several really cute buttons that can go on the tops of the flowers. I just have a bag of warm colors and a bag of cool colors, and that's how the buttons are organized. And all this stuff will need to be glued on, and the sticker will go there right beside my husband's photo. As I said, I don't think that round one is going to work out. And then I'm ready to put in the journaling and maybe a couple of other little stickers. Okay, we're down to the last of the page. I've added the journaling. I've added a wood embellishment that balances these wood embellishments that I had here. And you could say that I have 3 areas of embellishment, but what I really feel like is I have the diagonal line where I have embellishments down here, and then it just draws your eye across the page so that you see everything that's really critical. The only thing that's not in this viewpoint is the title. And I did add some stickers that says Seek Adventures down there at the bottom. When I printed the journaling, I printed it in the color blue because that went so well with the page. I do that a lot of times. I do very often gray or brown instead of doing black and white printing because it looks a little nicer. It looks a little more customized, I guess I should say. But mainly it's just the black and white is a bit stark on my layouts. And especially when I'm doing a lot of nature themed layouts, the brown and white or brown on ivory paper looks really good. And I hope you've enjoyed this page as well as taking a look at the other pages that I have completed in these one-page layouts. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.